And Linda, welcome. Thanks for joining us on our pregame show tonight here at the Big M. It's a busy night for you with 3 Sire Stakes finalists. I know you had some horses to warm up earlier. We appreciate you taking a short time out to join us.
Anytime, Sam.
Now, we have a special event coming up here, the Stride for the Cure 5K, to benefit the American Cancer Society, Saturday, June 23rd. You're a breast cancer survivor and have been healthy for quite some time now.
Yeah, I'm 7 years right now. I think it really comes right down to early detection.
And the Stride for the Cure, of course, to bring awareness to that. Some of the drivers will have pink gloves and pink whips. We've got pink Buxton martingales. Check out Meadowlands.com for more information. Linda, let's talk about some of the big horses in your stable, starting with the 4-year-old trotter, Chapter 7. Here he is winning the Breeders' Crown last year up at Woodbine, giving you your second Breeders' Crown title, and this had to be the thrill of the year.
It was a good one because it was hard fought, and we waited all year long for this horse to come right, and I was so glad that he finally vindicated him the way he did at the end of the year. He was the best that night, and he showed what he could do.
And he really seemed to break loose at Lexington. I know going into the Hambletonian you battled a lot of sickness, but you had him right at the right time last fall.
Tribute to his owners, tribute to all the connections. Everybody worked together so hard to get this horse right, and he was sick and he wasn't strong, and they decided to let me do the right thing by the horse and let me pass on some of the races and not race him in the Futurity and in Kentucky, and just race him out there light to kind of, we were hoping that those guys would go heavy heats and be tired, and it worked to our advantage because that's exactly what happened. He stayed fresh and he got a little healthier, and Kentucky's good for the soul.
That's for sure. And ironically, Tim Tetrick, your regular driver, was stuck in Snowgate, didn't make it up to Woodbine, so your good friend Jeff Gregory, who drove the horse quite a bit himself, got the big opportunity and made the most of it.
That was probably the best part about the story because Jeff really got that horse ready. He was undefeated with him almost as a 2-year-old. He made one missed cue at Freehold, and that night everybody was kind of running around with a chicken without a head, and Timmy called and he said, I'm not going to make it, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and Brad said to me, I bet you Jeff's here. And everything just came together, and it just felt like a full circle moment. I was happy for Jeff. I think it was his first Breeders' Crown win, and it was a cool reunitement.
Now, Chapter 7 qualified here at the Meadowlands May 26th. An amazing 151-4 effort. Looked great doing it, but are you at all concerned it was too much too soon?
Well, I was taught a long time ago by some of the best in the business that if you put a good foundation under the house, the building doesn't fall. So I know I put a real big bottom under him. Was it what I wanted? Probably not. But on the other hand, I know that he was within himself. The plugs weren't popped. He was over the half good. I honestly don't think Timmy realized how fast he was going the last quarter. He never pulled the plugs, and we kind of had made up our mind that we were going to get to the half around 57 and let him trot a little, and he did, and he came out of it real well.
Now, what are the plans for Chapter 7?
Well, I gave myself a little extra time because with him, you never know what can go wrong. But knock on wood, he's healthy and happy right now. So his first major stake race will be the Titan Cup here on June 23rd. I'll take him back and I'll qualify him next Friday here. That gives me room for a start if I want one. If he comes back as good as he was last week, I probably will opt out of that and just race him in the Titan Cup elimination. And then.
Well, speaking of coming back good, what about your 3-year-old pacing colt, Heston Blue Chip? He won the New York Sire Stakes last year and the Matron Championship. Here's his first qualifier of the year. Looks like he came back very strong.
Yeah, he's a really big, strong, strapping horse, and he's really a pleasure to be around. We just gave him an easy qualifier. He came back, and we decided to skip the Buffalo race, and he wasn't eligible to the Rooney tonight. He is eligible to the Meadowlands Pace, so we're going to kind of stay on the Sire Stakes circuit to try to have him as good as we possibly can for the Meadowlands Pace. And
he's in to go Wednesday, I believe, at Monticello in the New York Sire Stakes. In your opinion right now, how does he stack up against Sweet Lou and a Rock and Roll Dance and the big boys?
Don't know. You know, he's done everything we could ask him to do. That was the reason that we supplemented him to the Matron last year, was to see what he did when we stepped him up into the Grand Circuit. A couple years ago, we had a horse, Kenneth J, and I had an inkling because of what he did in Kentucky that he was a good horse. So Mr. Jacobs and I talked about it. We decided we'd supplement him, see what happened, and he was really game. He was really good at the end of a long year last year. So I don't know. He's got the right attitude to be a good horse. He's got speed, he's got size, and he's got a real good attitude.
Let's go through your New Jersey Sire Stakes finalists tonight. We start in the third race with number 9, Talbot Creek Julie in the 3-year-old filly trot, and you got her from one of Canada's top distaff trainers, Paula Wellwood. First leg was good, second leg was pretty good till right before the wire.
Yeah, I'm really babysitting right now for Mike Keeling and Paula Wellwood, husband and wife team up there, very, very good friends and awesome trotting trainers, old trainers in general. They did the reciprocal for me last year and made $500,000 with Macapella. So she's a nice filly, big, strong, strapping filly. She just got kind of tired, I think, last week. Her head got down, she got a little lugging in, and she tied up a little bit. So I think that's why she made the break. Hopefully, the weather has been really, really tough on these fillies right now. One minute it's warm, the next minute it's cool. It's kind of wreaking havoc with their system. So with any luck, she'll come back to form tonight.
In the fourth race, the 3-year-old trotting colt final, you've got Market Share. He dominated last week in leg 2 after a very narrow loss to Big Chocolate in the first leg. Tell us about Market Share.
Market Share has been a pleasure to be around from start to finish. We raced him pretty much in the same fashion that we raced Chapter 7. We raced him late in the year at Freehold. He was perfect down there. We brought him back. He did make a very untimely break in the final of the Dexter Cup. He spun his shoe off in the first turn, and I think he just couldn't trot with 3 shoes. And came back, and we weren't sure what to expect with this horse on a big track. He's not the biggest horse in the world, but he is the most honest. So he's been very, very good his 2 starts. I was tickled with him his first start when he got beat, and last week, unfortunately, it probably wasn't a fair test because Chocolatier Big Chocolate made a very weird break for him. So we'll see. He's a nice horse.
But this is a tough race, too. There's legitimately 5 or 6 Hambletonian contenders in this one.
Absolutely. It's never easy, and it's positioning. I think it's gotten to the point where if there's no dominant factor in, anyone can beat anyone. It's just the trip and where you are.
We move on to the 5th race. You've got the 3-year-old pacing filly, Air Guitar Hanover. Here she is in leg 2, finishing 4th. I've watched the replay a couple times. Did she have enough room to really get rolling up the rail, or what were you thinking?
She had the room, but she doesn't seem to want to go up the inside. If you watch the head-on view, she kind of tips out a little bit. She wants to go out, and Yannick and I spoke about it. After the race, he came very close to pulling the 2-hole in the last turn because she had a lot of pace, and the rail opened up, and it was almost like she was hesitant to go up the inside. She's still a green filly, and I don't think she knew what to do. So hopefully we'll be in a different place tonight.
She does have gate speed, but Pirouette Hanover on paper just sticks out in that field. At least it looks like.
Absolutely, she's the real deal.
Linda Toscano, you train a huge stable of young horses, but I've always wondered, do you have any hobbies or interests or passions away from the racetrack?
I love my dogs. I hang out with my dogs an awful lot. I'm kind of a homebody, so I spend a lot of time with my family. And yeah, you know, anytime that we have, I love to read, so it's not uncommon to find me in a quiet corner of the house watching television or reading a book. But for the most part, no, I'm pretty boring.
Can you name your biggest thrill in the sport of all your big wins? Which one stands out the most?
It's so weird because my biggest thrill, and I've been very, very fortunate, my biggest thrill remains to this day the senior jug when Jet Log set the world record out there. I love that horse like he was a member of my family, and to be able to put the first harness on a horse and keep him and race him until he's 7 years old is so, so unique in this business. So that day, it was like the relief that came over me because I knew that he was never going to have to race until he was 14 years old, and he was going to get a home as a stud somewhere, and he really does have a wonderful home right now. And so that was it, and I would have to say that Molly Can Do It in Chapter 7's Breeder Crown wins were probably close second and third.
Well, Linda, I know you've got 3 horses to race tonight. You want to get back and take care of business. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to join us. Always good to catch up with you, and best of luck.
Same here. Thanks, Sam.
Linda Toscano in the sulky. Short timeout. Bob Hollywood Hayden and I will tee up tonight's Sire Stakes action.